everybody, my name's Link, here to talk about both new and old anime you might not have heard of. Before we get into the meat of the video, I would just like to put a disclaimer out there. So, history lessons so we're all on the same foot. The real Oda Nobunaga is famously known for laying the foundation to unify Japan. But he's not a very nice man. He was a warlord first and foremost. He's been known to kill even women and children in his paranoia, so that they won't try to go after him after he's killed their husbands, fathers, brothers, etc. And the man has a terrifying temper. A sword was famously named Heshikiri, meaning shelf cutter, for when he was so mad at a young servant for making his tea wrong, the terrified servant went to hide inside a shelf, and Nobunaga stabbed him through the wood like a really bad magic trick. Normally, I wouldn't think that anime historical retellings need a prefix because they're usually over the top. They're anime, not a history book. But due to how the anime is set up, I just want to make it clear that everything regarding Nobunaga is purely on this fictional Nobunaga and not the real one. Okay, alright? Let's get to the video. Kochouki, Wakaki Nobunaga, or Beautiful Butterfly, Young Nobunaga, is a dramatical isn't a word. Dramatical murder, you lied to me! Dramatic retelling of our boy here throughout his life before he became the unifier of Japan, giving us his side of the story as to how he came about his genius and unorthodox tactics of the time, and the tragedy he and everyone around him had to endure to make him the man he was most known for. All through these incredibly sexy pretty boys. They paint Nobunaga as some eccentric kid with weird hobbies, eventually being dubbed as the Fool of Owari by the older generations for seemingly just wasting his time, but when in fact it's been the key to his success all along. He went out of his way to learn from the foreign sources and embrace change. That can be a comment about Japan's xenophobia, but that's not the topic of this video. Naturally, being alienated and mocked by others made him want to distance himself from them, only keeping a few close allies and his brothers close. Even though for the latter, their bitter mother is trying her hardest to prevent that. But eventually he does need to marry. He's a smart boy, he saw it coming, but he'd never expected to be married to the ninja Kicho, who was later tasked to kill him. And even more surprising, his new wife was actually a man. In a wholesome twist though, he didn't really shun him as soon as he understood the situation that led him to cross-dressing. And later on, my heart would just be melting at how super cute of a couple they are. Domestic scenes to show just how much they loved each other. Holy shit, another progressive aspect of this show with a same-sex couple? Is what I'd wanted to say, but this one doesn't quite fit the bill. The relationship, despite how reciprocating, is still under the guise of a head couple. They could have turned it into a male and trans woman couple, but everything about Kicho and his getup was all under the insistence of his father as opposed to fool others. And that's why I chose to refer to him as a masculine way, despite his ultimately feminine looks. And I'm not about to open that kind of worms. But I do genuinely love the relationship as Nobunaga is a loving husband to him, and Kicho is one of his biggest supporters, especially when the times were turning sour. And then there's this other issue with one guy taking advantage of Nobunaga's brother's vulnerability and weakness, after being pressured by the elders around them. That he should be the rightful ruler since he was the cookie-cutter example of a disciplined and well-mannered man. It ate at him, since he's loved his brother since he was a child, but Nobunaga's negative reviews just gave everyone around him a reason to put them at odds. And then comes this slimy motherfucker. And it puts a bad light on the predatory gay trope, but again, that's not gonna be on this video. Though I do think they balance each other out at least. The one wholesome couple with the problematic one. So it's not demonizing the gays, just executed a little clumsily. But it gets a point for trying. I personally love story setups like these. I believe that every villain is a hero of their own story, and this is just a textbook example of it. While it can sound like a Nobunaga apologist anime, I don't think anyone is inherently evil unless it's a caricature of some sort of insane villain. And it gives me some sort of thrill to see how their psychology could break and go against everything they're used to do, so that they can adapt to these new challenges thrown at them. And sometimes they choose wrong, which makes them seem all the more human. There's a certain enjoyment in seeing characters be put through the emotional wringer with things they either brought onto themselves or what was on the cards dealt to them, as is the allure with most dramas. And damn is the drama spicy in this one. I think dramas based on historical events are just put in a strange position. Anyone who knows of the tale of Nobunaga's life can already map out with their prior knowledge what's going to happen next. They know the siege is coming, they know he managed to rise up with the use of muskets, and how he infamously will die in Honnoji Castle. So it's a given that the writers and creative team have to find ways to make their story and delivery entertaining. And for this anime in particular, they chose to tell it from the perspective of a well-known villain, giving a different flavor and insight to the turn of events through someone close to him, and showing us what really forced his hand to take such actions. So, should you watch Wakaki Nobunaga? I'll be rating the shows I cover here with these stars. 1 star is, I suffered for this anime so you don't have to. Something else is worth your time. 3 stars is, definitely give it a go. It was an enjoyable ride despite its flaws, or it could be covering certain niches that you could be interested in. While 5 is just add it to your anime Bible, a show any fan should definitely be watching. I give this one a 3 star. It's a period drama and a historical retelling. People who would be interested in watching these were already into the said niches, or people who don't have much of an opinion on it and willing to give it a shot. There's little it can offer outside of the dramatized events in terms of storytelling. It's like that one dead meme around fandom that went, me reading a fic. There's only gonna be one bad fic. And there was only one bad. Me shocked. Oh my god, there's only one bad. It does what it can to set itself apart from the others, and it will attract its own set of fans as well as drive some away. The only standout thing I can give it credit for is the banging opening, and its incredibly pretty art. But even then, I'll be straight up with y'all, the show is baity as fuck. But the moment I recognized Nakajima Atsuko was in this, I knew I was in for a treat. For those who don't know, Nakajima Atsuko is an industry veteran, doing character designs for the likes of Get Backers and Princess, just to name a few. I personally love her art style so much. The way she draws eyes with her incredibly pretty shapes and the shading style, sparkly to make them endearing. Her style in drawing their hair, so flowy and soft, detailed down to the very strand without making it look like a mess. She's such hair drawing goals. She's also known for drawing these kinds of official arts for all the work she's had an artistic direction to. Though you guys know that by now, based on what I've been saying this whole time, this show is really ripe with homoeroticism, from Nobunaga's men to his brothers to his own wife. They frame it like one of the factors Nobunaga has been such a formidable foe is because all his men are so undyingly loyal to him, and gives you a wink-wink on what else that can entail without showing. I know this anime is probably going to be only for a certain demographic of fans who would love to see pretty boys being sad and being close to each other. The premise is interesting enough in showing another perspective of history's most formidable tyrant figure, but only in the barest of the sense, and mostly just serves to fuel the sad boys being sad. And that's it for this one, everyone. Please tell me what you guys think of the video. What do y'all think of this art? Or are you someone who prefers a much darker art style? Comment down below, I'd love to see what you guys think. And as always, leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, and please consider subscribing for more niche anime recommendations you might not have heard of. Bye bye!